Mayo's cool with it. And then when you put all the pieces together, Mayo's really cool with Wolf. He likes. I'm telling you now, they're not even going to get a real GM. They're going to bring Wolf in. He's going to be the guy in charge ultimately of drafting players and who's in charge of free
Yeah.
agency. And that should scare you.
Welcome back to the Old Bull and Young Calf Boston Sports Podcast, episode 25. Football is nearly behind us, but we still got plenty of hockey and Celtics to talk about. So my dad's going to go ahead and give us a rundown of the 5 segments we got today. What do we got for him, Dad?
So the old Bulls' cholesterol and blood pressure got a little too high last week. So I'm going to channel my inner salt life, beach life down here in Florida, calm down a little bit. And we're going to talk about the Patriots rumor mill. There are 3 big rumors surrounding the Patriots, their upcoming draft, and some of the moves they're going to make. And we're also going to touch on, again, the old bull gave you a lock guarantee last week, just like when he said, bet the house on Mayo becoming the coach back in October, and it came true. So find out what that is. Then we have the Boston Celtics, big day today for them. Trade deadline. They made 2 moves, not huge moves, but important moves. So we're going to discuss that and we're going to grade those and talk about how they play lately. Then we have the Boston Bruins back from the All-Star break, and they absolutely laid an egg out of the gate. But man, what a bounce back tonight against the league's hottest team. Man, what a showing tonight. And we're going to talk about the bad news they got with one of their rookie phenoms. But, future's still looking bright for those guys. And then number 4 is Wilgers Basement Bets, his last week of the year. We're all 3 of us going to give you a little taste of what we feel like is going to make you some money this Super Bowl coming up. Big game Sunday that still hoping gets canceled. It hasn't yet, but we'll see. And then last but not least, we are going to talk about that game, give you our thoughts on the Chiefs versus the 49ers, and, let you know what we think is going to happen. So kick it off, Matt.
Yeah. Thanks, Dad. So, like my dad said, segment number 1, we're going to talk about the Patriots rumor mill. And my dad talked about keeping his blood pressure low. And sadly, almost none of these rumors are going to help that at all. So, uh, first off, we'll talk about the thing that's been popping up a lot recently. And it's for the most part, none of the major reporters are doing this, but a lot of like wannabe reporters on Twitter talking about trading for Justin Fields. Before I get into what I think of this, Dad, do you have any thoughts when you think of Justin Fields in a Patriots jersey trading a second round pick is what's shared often in this? What do you how do you feel about that?
I just don't like it. I feel like there's a big enough sample size where Fields, at very best, even when another year or two of seasoning, is probably a middling quarterback. He just doesn't have read his progressions well. He's a good athlete, he can run, but as far as being a field general and reading the defense and audibling, I don't think he's ever going to get there. And you're also going to have to give up a decent pick for him. So some people also floated out, well, you know what? Trade for Fields and still get a quarterback at number 3. It's probably going to take a reasonably high pick for Fields, and I want that to go to a left tackle or a wide receiver. So no on that.
Yep.
I'm out on that idea. I don't want it. Plus, Fields has his rookie contract ending soon, so you know what that means when even if you're a middling quarterback and your contract's up, you're gonna make at least 25 million in today's NFL, and I do not want to pay that man that much money.
Yeah, and you hit the nail on the head with that last statement, and that's where my sticking point is. On top of this, I think Fields being a subpar quarterback or below average quarterback, um, he would need to get paid. And in today's NFL, you really don't win a championship unless your name is Patrick Mahomes or you are a quarterback who's on their rookie contract. So, we see the 49ers, we talk about how they've crafted this team. How do they have the strength at all these positions? Because their quarterback is making peanuts and has to have a roommate in, San Francisco. So, yeah, I think please do not bring Justin Fields into this. Jacoby Brissett, I think, is the play, but we won't get too much into that if you're looking for a quarterback as a bridge quarterback. So the next thing that has popped up, and it's probably just smoke and mirrors because it just doesn't make any sense. But picking a tackle with that third pick, there are two. We hear about this every couple of years, like bona fide, amazing tackles at the top of the draft. As you can see, my dad's doing his USA. Bad boys, you got to do more earlobes, Dad. But what is the old Bulls' thoughts on, Joe Walt? You are a Patriot come May.
I mean, again, 1980 thinking, right? I just don't want that. So last week I said Wolf is going to be the guy. Now he's officially the guy. And the rumor is that he wants to take a tackle at number three. And it just goes to show that, you know, I hate that for a couple reasons. I mean, number one, for the obvious, I want a quarterback because if today's NFL has proven anything, you need the quarterback. You need the guy. I don't want to risk hitting the lottery in the second, third, fourth, fifth round. Best shot, take a quarterback at three. Stop trying to act like a genius. So now the second reason why I can't stand this is you're tipping your hat to the rest of the league. So word has it that Jaden Daniels is a hot commodity. Teams are willing to pay an arm and a leg to get up to number three to get him. If you start floating that out there and you actually take a tackle at number three, and someone decides to get crazy and put together a package of 3 first-round picks and 3 second-round picks, guess who's getting that package? Not the Patriots, the Arizona Cardinals. Because
Yep.
you were stupid enough to tell the world you're taking a lousy tackle at number three. I don't care if he's the second coming of Jonathan Ogden. Are left tackles important? Absolutely. They are. But they are no good if you got nobody to throw the ball. Get me
Yeah.
that guy first.
And I think Joe Thomas was the perfect example of that recently. Hall of Fame left tackle, best left tackle in the lead, so many All Pros, and he got nowhere with Cleveland. I don't know if he ever even played in a playoff game, or at the very least, I know he didn't win a playoff game. So we definitely do not want to see a tackle. This is hopefully the lowest we will draft for the next 20 years. So let's not use that on a tackle. So you got a thought?
One more thing. It's supposed to be a very deep draft at tackle. Perfect spot for that 34th pick, which is technically like a low first round pick. It's like
Yep.
picking at the end of the first round because we're picking so early in the second round. It's a very, very deep tackle draft. Take your tackle there, please. Let's
Yep.
not um, let's not think we're the smartest guys in the room here. Do what's
Yep.
best for today's NFL.
Yep. And I think the next move, it's tough, right? Because you kind of see how it really worked out for the Bears this year. They did this. They traded down last year. They gave the first pick to the Carolina Panthers. Carolina Panthers go out and have a historically bad offensive season and give the Bears a first overall pick this year, and they have their own high first round pick. What is the old Bulls' thoughts on trading down? Is there any amount of compensation that would make it reasonable for you?
I mean, there is, right? I'm not stupid. So if somebody wants to keep us in the top 10 and it's a team that is going to be terrible next year and is willing to throw in more picks, I definitely would consider it. I would hate to give up one of those three quarterbacks, but at the same time, if we stay in the top 10 and this team we know is taking probably one of those three quarterbacks and they're going to stink next year because he's a rookie and the team around him is just not that good. And we could have, again, another top three pick next year and you throw in a couple more second rounders. I mean, as much as it kills me, I might give up on that.
Yeah.
But man, it's so hard because we have no game changers. Zero game. Is there a game changer on the Patriots? The closest thing we have to a game changer is Matthew Judon, who
Yeah.
generally disappears at the end of the year, like you've said, Matt, and it's true. So we need one in here. We need a Jaden Daniels in here. Basically, I know it's a bad time to say this, but he is Lamar Jackson with more accuracy downfield. I know Jackson
Yeah.
choking dog. He choked again this year. So, but I'm not saying he's exactly Lamar Jackson. I'm saying he runs like
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson and he's slightly more accurate. Hopefully, he has a better temperament. Hopefully, he has a
We'll see.
better
We'll see.
clutch gene in him.
Yeah.
So, man, we need playmakers like you read about.
Yeah.
So it
Well,
is, God, it is hard. But I mean, someone would have to blow my doors off for me to want to trade down. But I hate
yeah.
the
I
idea.
I think the really tough part about that would be if you look at the quarterback draft class for next year, it is very weak. It's already forecasted to
Uh,
be weak. This year, of course, Jaden Daniels has skyrocketed up the board, but before that, it was really a 2 horse race. Um, so yeah, I could happen next year, right? Just like Jaden Daniels, somebody could have a breakout year, but probably not. So yeah, I know trading down seems a bit ridiculous unless we get blown away. The Bears gambled and it paid off for them last year. I don't know if that's something that we'd want to get into this early into a new regime. So um, I think those are our three big rumors. And speaking of new regime, real quick, I don't know if our viewers have seen this, but Evan Lazar put out the coaching staff as is right now. These names are currently set in stone. We have Alex Van Pelt, Ben McAdoo, the offensive assistant, TC McCartney. I forget where he's from. Do you know where he's from, Dad?
no,
Off top, okay,
I
yeah.
don't.
Scott Peters, they did go out and snuggly craft seemed to get a bit uncomfortable with some of these picks, which I appreciate. Right, some new names. These are not regurgitated through our system. One thing I do want to highlight, and of course, Brian Belichick is staying. One of the boys for Bill, Mike Pellegrino, and then Jerry Montgomery, and we've talked about Covington as well. One thing I will point out is Ben McAdoo has been pretty spot on with the recent quarterbacks. In the Josh Allen draft, he came out and he actually had Josh Allen as the best quarterback in that draft. And the second best quarterback in that draft he had was Lamar Jackson. So he hit that. He had, Josh Rosen lower. I forget what other quarterbacks were in that draft. Oh, Sam Darnold was in that draft. He had Sam Darnold lower. He specifically said he didn't like the way Sam Darnold's throwing motion was. He didn't see him being the best quarterback. So that was big. And then he also hit
Patrick
on
Mahomes.
another one. Patrick Mahomes. Yes, he was very high on that. So let's hope he has the juice and can help us make a decision here. I mean, kind of the decision has to be made for us, right? We're just kind of left with whatever's left. But it's good to see him there. People are kind of crapping on it because he is Ben McAdoo and he's kind of a meme online. But he's not our offensive coordinator. He's not our coach. This is kind of a Josh McDaniel situation. These guys kind of they do great in these niche positions and when they're more siloed. So I don't think it's something to be sad about. Any thoughts on that list out of coaches?
The coaches, I mean, I don't know. We'll have to
Yeah.
see. I'm not crazy about it. It's okay. I wanted to touch on, I slammed Robert Kraft last week. So I lit him up. And this idea of, you know, we bring Wolf in and now there's rumors of left tackles and trade him back. Doesn't that sound familiar, Matt? It's it's what we used to do around here. There's a reason why coaches leave us to become head coaches and they become absolutely terrible and they're a disaster at these other places because we had Belichick and Brady. That's why it worked. Okay. You cannot try to be like Belichick. Just take a tackle at three, trade back. That just goes to show you we still have too much Belichick in the building. That is when Wolf is thinking that way, that screams something Belichick would do. I want to get away from that. They were great because they were together. No one will ever be that.
Yeah.
And if you try to be Belichick without Brady, you're going to be a disaster. So be your own man, Wolf. Trade if you think Caleb Williams is a head and shoulders above everyone else, do the opposite of what Bill do. Trade up and get him to number one. Give him what throw the house at him if that's what they want. Stop trying to be Stop the Patriot way thinking, whatever that crap is. Enough with that. We need fresh starts. So I feel like I just nervous because I feel like there's still too much of Belichick in the building when I start hearing this crap. So hopefully it's
Yeah.
all a smokescreen and they're just trying to throw everyone off the scent and they're really like, no, we're taking a quarterback at 3. But we'll see.
Yeah, I think it's tough because the people reporting it do have some pull, right? The person reporting the tackle situation was Jeff Howe, athletic. The athletic guys usually have resources. We'll see. We'll see. I'll take a breather. Woosah. And I think that's a great segue before my dad blows a fuse to move into segment number two, where um, I think there's some positivity here, a good amount of positivity. The Boston Celtics have done a lot of things that we've wished for um, this past week or so. Jalen Brown sitting. My dad has been asking for getting those starters rest. So he sat after having a rough stretch. He was struggling. He was on the downturn. Sat, came back last game, incredibly efficient, attacking. He looked rejuvenated. That was great. And then, overall, pleased with the games. But specifically, today was a big day with the trade deadline. And the new CBA encourages trades over over free agency because of the way the money works with all this. So there was a lot of movement um, throughout the league. We saw the Knicks add Bojan Bogdanovic. You probably know him as the guy with the huge ball spot who never misses a 3-pointer against us whenever we play the Pistons. And Alec Burks kind of turns into a pumpkin against us. He doesn't have that kind of edge
Yeah.
against us. Um, the Knicks kind of got stronger in that way. Um, do you have any anecdotes, Dad, or comments on the Knicks and the changes they've made?
I mean, how do you not like what the Knicks did? I, you know, I actually was not a fan of the first trade, but I mean, what are you going to do? They've been 16-3 since giving up. Was it Quickly and was it Barrett? I thought they gave up too much for. God, I forgot his name. But I mean, whatever
Anobi,
it is, it's
Anobi, and Anobi's
Abino.
missed the
Yeah,
last 5 too. He's
yeah.
he's actually
So
out with an elbow injury for 3 more weeks.
is he? Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, but the trade worked. I thought they gave up too much scoring for that guy, but 16-3 speaks for itself. And now they bring in 2 guys. They just go less tough. I mean, like they're known as a tough, scrappy team. These 2 guys are going to make them less tough. They're going to make them little less weak, a little more weaker at defense. So I do like that, but they're going to score more. I mean, Burke is, he's a streaky shooter. He's hot and
yep,
cold. But Bogdanovich, yeah, that guy you
yeah,
can't leave him alone. He's just a 3-pointer in your face waiting to happen. So I think the Knicks did well, unfortunately. We'll see once they
yeah.
get healthy. Randall's out for a while. They're supposed to get their center back. I forgot that guy's name, who is,
Mitchell Robinson.
you know, Robinson. He's a Celtics killer. God, he kills us on the glass all the time. So, if we did our top 5 worries about teams, in a 7-game series for the Celtics, they might be in there now.
Yeah, and you mentioned those defensive liabilities in Bojan and Burks, and Thibodeau's pretty darn good at figuring out defenses, and so he might be able to figure out a
Yes.
way to get these guys to play defense or hide them. Um, there were, as I mentioned, a ton of moves. There were not any major moves. The Bucks
No.
bolstered their backcourt defense by adding Patrick Beverly. I don't know how much he shores that up with Dame Millard, but I'm sure it's a step up. It kind of sucks that they got that guy because their backcourt was super weak defensively. Um, Schroeder was nearly a buck, but he ended up going to the Nets. The Nets did a lot of stuff today, and it was very confusing because they didn't really add too much, but they lost a lot.
Yeah.
Um,
Some weird
there were a few
trades.
teams.
A lot of
Yeah,
weird
yeah.
trades.
Detroit did a ton of trades. Didn't get much back for anything. Um, it was odd
Turn full tank
seeing.
mode.
Yeah, I mean it was full tank mode, but they didn't even get any firsts. It was very confusing.
Yeah.
And then, we have teams like the Bulls and the Pelicans, um, who were quiet, who had a lot of resources, who have expiring contracts. And it's like, do you guys really think that you're competing for a championship this year? Um, and they made
Toronto was
no.
really weird too.
Yeah, Toronto. That was another one.
What are you doing? Were they selling? Were they think they're making a playoff run? I don't know. It was really weird. But we got
I
some
mean,
good, nice losses
yeah,
tonight in the conference. I tell you, the Bucks lost, the Knicks lost. Yeah, Indiana lost. So that was a good night in the conference. But maybe it was because of the trade deadline. I don't know. Maybe everyone's ever a little shook up a little. But
yeah,
who
yeah.
knows?
I
It was
mean,
it was a
those,
weird trade deadline.
yeah, those Knicks have now lost 2 out of the last 3. So maybe they're coming back down to earth a little bit. Their trimmed down, team is kind of hurting them. But yeah, and we were kind of in a weird spot as Celtics fans. So let's get to the Celtics and how they did. Um,
Mhm.
Everyone was like, "Come on, Brad, you got to go, you got to go." Now, this trade deadline really wasn't an arms race in the way of nuclear weapons, as it was, I don't know, like just kind of restocking, maybe like trading out a couple like semi-auto machine guns. No big
Yeah.
moves, but our biggest splash happened early, which I think spoiled people a bit, and so they just assumed that something else was coming. But Xavier Tillman, uh, hopefully we don't see too much of him. Hopefully Horford and Porzingis are incredibly healthy all playoffs, but he adds a layer of complexity to our defense. He's 99th percentile in defensive efficiency this season. He's one of the top uh, efficiency per minute defenders in the league this season. He's averaging over like I think a steal a game and a block a game. His wingspan is 7'2", while he's 6'7". Um, I think that he's going to be great for the teams that you talked about, Dad, with like the Knicks and the Bucks and those kind of those kind of teams. I think he's probably going to struggle against the likes of like Embiid, but everybody does, to be totally honest, right? You just gotta kind of wear him down. So the Xavier Tillman, what are your thoughts on that guy?
Yeah, that's a great point, Matt. You're absolutely right. He's not going to do much against, Jokic or Embiid, big physical guys like that. But, and Giannis is physical, but I think he could help against a guy like that. Well, we don't have Grant Williams this year. And, also against Randall. We struggle against Randall in the next. I think he could be a good guy on him as well to cover, whatever. So, but like you said, hopefully he almost never gets to play because that would mean the
Yeah,
playoffs. I'm talking about in the playoffs because that would mean that Porzingis and Horford are completely healthy. They're chomping up a bulk of the minutes, and they're just the guys barely needed. So we'll see. He's a good insurance piece. Um, I read somewhere that there was some type of stat or analytic that has him as the third best defender in the league this year. So
yeah,
I mean, I like seeing that. That's for sure. We'll see when he gets in here. Maybe he plays himself into the regular rotation when this playoff starts. So we gave up nothing. So I give that. It's not a huge impact move. So I give that a solid B plus.
yeah, yeah. And you mentioned B plus. I think that is perfect. I think he's uh, really not a net negative. His salary was so low. He fit the Justin Jackson trade exception. I don't know if you remember Justin Jackson, but we that also left us open for the Grant Williams trade exception to be available, and that kind of gave people a lot of hope. Of course, it didn't materialize into anything large, but B plus Trader Brad really emphasized defense. This defense energy. He's Tillman's only 25 this trade deadline. Moving into the next trade, and if you ask the 76ers fan how this trade was, I think they would give this an F, right? They are absolutely livid that we got this Springer guy, Jaden Springer. He's 21 years old. He was drafted, I think, in 2021. He was super young draft. Um, you probably recall him from him getting a steal from Tatum earlier this season. Uh, really putting the clamps on Tatum really pissed me off in a way because I'm like, Tatum, how are you letting this scrub do this to you? But he was face guarding the crap out of our wings, giving him a hard time, and he was plus 20 in one of the games. But Nick Nurse is such an idiot. He took him out, and we ended up winning that game. Nobody was even close, and he was plus 20. So Jaden Springer for his second round pick. And I'll tell you, the consensus is 76ers fans are pissed. They think Daryl Morey is intentionally trying to tank their team for giving us this guy for a second. What are your thoughts on Jaden Springer?
Yeah, it's potential. Again, he already is a good defender from what I hear. He has some shooting potential. It's unrealized yet, so we don't
Yeah.
know. I want to get your hopes up on that. And by the way, the other guy is not a shooter at all. So if
Nope.
you're
Tell me
thinking,
it's not.
hey, is that other guy? No, terrible. But this guy Springer, he's got potential offensively. I don't think he'll ever be, best case scenario, maybe he's another Neesmith. I don't know, like a seventh, eighth guy. Probably not the greatest comparison, but he's an energy defender guy. So we'll see. It was harmless. Again, I'd probably give this one, I don't know. I don't want to say A. There's a lot of potential there. I'd give this one a solid B.
Yeah. Yep. I think that's again safe. I think this is I'll give it a B plus because it pissed off 76ers fans, right? And I was
Yeah.
talking to my buddies, and at the trade deadline, it's I forget. I would have to say, and I don't know. Brad is playing it like a sport. I'm trying to think of the sport, but a sport where you have to just have a feel for the game, kind of like Belichick on the sidelines coaching, right? You got to have a pulse on what is everybody else doing? Should I be overreacting? Should I be overreaching myself, overextending myself? How do I play this? And I think Brad played this trade deadline really well. He made moves and showed that we were serious. I think really showed the locker room that as a team, the front office is doing what they can to improve the team, but didn't screw up the chemistry as much. Tatum even spoke up about Lamar Stevens being traded. How disappointed Tatum was in that. As a leader, I think he kind of has to do that. But the team, we are the world power. Everybody else is trying to catch up to us. I'm glad we
Yeah.
didn't overextend ourselves. I'm glad we didn't screw up any of the chemistry because right now the vibes are immaculate, as people say. Um, Overall, pretty happy with this, and I think we did what we had to do. I'm not disappointed in this trade line at all.
No, me neither. I do have so I have something that has kind of been on my mind, and I went and did some research, and I think it's kind of good news, right? I feel like the Celtics have a little bit of switching, meaning there's been a pattern lately, the last 5 games, where they've just decided in the second half, we're going to flick a switch and we're going to start clamping down on defense, and they've done better than the first half. So it can be good and bad, right? It's good that they have that switch, but it's bad that does it create bad habits? I don't know. I'm hoping when the playoff starts, that switch gets flicked at the very beginning and it lasts the entire game. But I think it's important to know that it's there if they need it, right? And if they can just channel that into a full game, that'd be great. Here's their last 5 games, real quick. Atlanta gave up 67 points in the first half, 50 in the second half. Memphis, 50 points in the first half, 41 in the second. Lakers gave up 60 in the first half, 54 in the second. Pacers gave up 66 in the first half, 58 in the second, and then the Pelicans 60 in the first half, 52 in the second. So, and anytime you get an NBA team these days around 50 points for a half, that is a huge win. So that's
Yeah,
that's no small deal. So I don't think it's a coincidence that this has happened in the second half. They're probably wearing teams down a little bit, but I think they're also realizing, hey, we got to stop screwing around or we're going to lose this game. And they're clamping down.
yeah.
So it's a nice veteran team we have now. I'm hoping that they don't play that game in the playoffs and they come out from the jump and lock down on D, but it's just something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, and overall, looking around the standings in the East, it's pretty nice to see some of our, biggest rivals and them experiencing their downfall. The Bucks are about to lose their third straight game. They are 1-5 since Doc Rivers has taken over. I won't, and of course, Embiid. There's a chance he could end up being out for the season. He's already poorly conditioned enough. He's sitting on the couch eating Doritos, right? Good luck coming back from that.
Don't you put that bad karma voodoo on us, Matt. Don't you do it. I will hurl my body off of a helicopter into shark-infested waters.
Robert, Mom, Derek, this is my girlfriend, Denise.
Oh, hi. How are you?
Actually, I'm his therapist. We are in absolutely no way dating.
Right.
Brennan told me he was going to hurl his body off a helicopter into shark-infested waters, so I had a legal obligation to be here.
Don't wish for injuries. You're not Rich Worley, our friend.
I'm
okay?
not wishing for injuries. I'm just I'm basking in the downfall of these teams with annoying fan bases. So yeah, I think we could probably close the book on segment number 2 and move on to segment number 3. And we are returning back to the Bruins. We had a nice little break. They are back from All-Star break. Swayman took part in the games. Pastrnak took part in the big games. Neither of them went very far in the games, but hopefully the boys had a good time. It was re-energizing. I think it was Connor McDavid who talked about the work that he put in over the summer, and they were talking about him working with Sidney Crosby, and McDavid was like, "Don't forget Marshy." So Marchand just making good impacts around the league. It was just I think a overall good weekend. For good week for hockey. Bruins come back, face the Calgary Flames. They had just traded their best player, Elias Lindholm, one of the prizes for the trade deadline. I think that, this according to my buddy Andrew. He landed on the Canucks. The Canucks loading up, making a big push. We lose to the Flames. Flames won tonight, 5-3. So they're on somewhat of a streak post losing Elias. And then, of course, we face Elias, and he drops a whopping -4 against us. So a miserable game. He did have a good first game, 2 goals. So we did not spoil a debut, but I think we made a statement win here against a Canucks team that we hopefully will see in the finals. Any thoughts on these past games, Dad, since the All-Star break?
So, great win tonight. Vancouver's no joke. I think
No,
they
not at
lead
all.
the league in scoring by a lot. Like I don't think anyone's even close. They have like 3 guys in the top 10 in scoring. They're no joke. And I don't know. Did they end up shutting them out tonight? I didn't see the final. I know
They
they
did
shut
end
them
up
out
shutting
going
him
into
out.
2
Yep.
periods.
Yep.
That's impressive.
Yeah,
So
they have 189 goals for. The first place is the Avalanche with 196, and the Stars have 189. But the highest team in the East is us with 178. So yeah.
wow. Yeah. So we're getting up there. I'm still not convinced that we have enough scoring for the playoffs, but hopefully the old bull's wrong. I'm still just not. I'm not convinced of it yet. But but hey, I can Heinen. I'm starting to come around on Heinen. I was absolutely
Oh
hard
wow.
on that man earlier in the year. Listen, the old bull, he recognizes when he's wrong. That's what mature adults do. Unlike you kids, all right, you damn kids in your
Yeah.
apps, all
Millennials.
right. You don't admit when you're wrong. And you know what? I might have been wrong about Heinen, and he might end up being a pivotal player in the playoffs. Not talking about a major scorer, but solid line 3 guy. So I don't know. Again, hope I'm wrong. I really wish they would keep track of turnovers in the NHL. Would love to see that in the box score, because I just still feels like they're so bad with the puck coming out of the zone, and they're so loose with the puck, and they get knocked off the puck easy. Our defensive core. So I don't
Yeah, I
know.
think
We
they do
get
have a giveaway column. Giveaway, but I don't know how much that like
yeah
accurately reflects the turnover, because like McAvoy tonight had 2 giveaways.
yeah.
Pastrnak had 1 giveaway, Coyle had 1, and Boqvist had 1. So
But is it the same as a turnover where I think a
I don't
giveaway
know.
is where you go to pass the puck and someone intercepts it? Whereas, yep, that's a giveaway when you pass it and someone intercepts it, and when someone bumps you off the puck and steals it
Yeah.
from you. I don't know. I don't know what the criteria is, but I would like to see it. It still feels like we give up a lot and we count on our goalies too much. So we'll see how
Yeah.
that all turns out. But I mean, hey, what a great bounce back game tonight. I mean, that's awesome to shut that team out.
Yeah.
That is no
Yeah.
small feat.
Two shorthanded goals in the first period, one by Marchand, the shorthanded
Mm.
king, the shorty king, and then Danton Heinen. I mean, that's just the best way to ingratiate yourself to the old bull. Get some shorthanded goals, gritty goals like that, and
Mhm.
only 17 shots allowed. Right? I'm really curious. I don't know what the Canucks average per game in shots, but uh, that feel like that's pretty low. Actually, looks like they only had 24 the game before that. No, 19 the game before that. So odd. Canucks, at least since the All
Yeah.
Star break, have not generated a lot of shots. Um, I think got to give our defense some credit there. It does suck. You know, my dad and I think my buddy Tim mentioned this about he had some good reasoning, Dad, why Lori is not playing right now. And I think he talked about how some of our veterans are doing well enough, and to avoid them going to waivers, we can send Lowry down to Providence, get more minutes, and we get to retain the veterans that are performing maybe a little bit above their weight class. So I was like, it really frustrates me how much sense that made, Tim, because I kind of wanted to like force feed Lowry minutes in the NHL. But I guess it makes sense. How do you feel about that explanation as to why Lowry's down there and we have the likes of, Witherspoon up here?
I mean, I guess that's just what it is. We have to deal with it. If I had my way, I would just have Grzelcyk on the seventh floor all the time. I don't care if he sits
Yeah.
there for the whole year. I just
Yeah.
don't. And there's no reason why Lowry should not be on this team right now. But I mean, I just have to deal with it. There's times where Montgomery and Neely and Sweeney, they're like Claude Julian all over again, just old and set in their ways as well. And
Yeah.
you'll never be able to you'll never be able to tell me the Bruins are better off with Grzelcyk and Carlo on the ice over Lowry. You just won't. I've seen enough of them. There was enough sample size there to show me that he is absolutely a top four defenseman right now, and
Yeah.
he's wasting away on in Providence. So I just have to deal with it. And oh well, I mean, what are you going to do? But what about DeBrusque, Matt? Because he's in the contract year. This rumor is about. I mean, I don't. Could we trade him? You think the trade deadline's coming up? I think next month. Is that? I mean, do you want to give him a contract? Do you actually want to pay that guy? Because I feel like, my opinion, I feel like he's one of those guys where he needs motivation. And when he's not motivated, you remember what he's been like in stretches?
Oh yeah.
He sucks. He sucks when he's not motivated. So I don't know what to do with him. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he's 100% a diva. He gives me a lot of anxiety because I never know what kind of DeBrusque we're gonna get. A very emotional
Yeah.
player. It's different, right? Because the NHL is not like the NBA where retaining your own players, you get some sort of benefit, right? Um, if we can put the money elsewhere, I would much rather not coin flip it with Jake DeBrusque. Um, you know what the crazy thing is we'd have to ignore whatever he does elsewhere because he very well might just to spite us because that's the kind of guy he is, go somewhere else and play outside of his mind. But the reality is he probably would not have replicated that here, um, because he's a very emotional player, and it seems like we know we've went through what, three different coaches with him. I don't know if he was here for Claude Julien, but I think he was. Uh, but no one has been able to pull the strings consistently enough with him. Whether we had Chara as a captain, Bergeron as a captain, Marchand as a captain, uh, I don't know. Jake DeBrusque is a bit of an enigma. I don't want to invest in his future unless it's on a really good deal, a tradable contract, something we can maybe flip later. But if we aren't going to extend him, I would love to be able to package him and Grzelcyk for somebody else. How sad would you be? Of course, you'd be sad if we don't win the cup. But how sad would you be if we don't win the cup and Jake DeBrusk walks? Would you rather take a shot at the cup with him on our team, or would you rather move him before the deadline at the risk of getting nothing for him?
You don't know with him. He'll get 5 goals in 3 games, and then he'll go 15 games with 1 assist and no goals. You don't know when that with that guy. That's a good idea. Maybe package him with Grizzly or Carlo. You know me. I've been beating the drum about the goalie, trying to get a front line, a number one forward. Man, throw him in with Allmark. See if you can get a first line guy, a first line center, a winger to throw in that top six. But man, talk about a double whammy. If we hold on to him, lose him as a free agent, and we don't win the cup, oh God, that'll hurt. We lose him for nothing because he does have some value. He does have some value on the league. I'd rather have him on my team than not have him if you're not going to upgrade. And there's just not enough upgrades really
Yeah.
in Providence. The Celtics the Bruins have like 3 forwards in their entire system with any really potential, and so I don't know,
Yeah. I think
don't know what to
overall,
make of it.
the team's doing well enough. 3.5 goals a game, vying for the President's Cup. I don't think you make a move with one of your top forwards unless you can get something excellent. And, we're going to try, guys, as best as we can to take a deep dive into what's available to trade deadline. Much more difficult with hockey. The cap, the nuance of the game, how many players each of these teams have. It's really hard to discern who's available and who's not. So we'll try our best to give the listeners some insight into those players and what we could get back for Jake DeBrusk that would make actual sense. But we'll see
It's a
about
hard
that.
cap.
Yeah.
There's no flexibility at all. So
Yeah. And I think one of the last things, and I don't think we touched on this, but Poitras has currently been determined as out for the season. Did we talk about that in the segment? I don't think we have.
No, we didn't. Just bad news. We lost. We already lost a year on his rights because we played him this year. He was going great. I thought the team was too hard on him. I didn't think they showed enough patience, and I don't know. At some point, he hurt his shoulder, and he's
Yeah.
out now. So, butterfly effect. Maybe if he was playing more, he wouldn't have been on that shift. Who knows? But just bad luck.
Yeah.
The kid's out for the rest of the year. We lost a year of eligibility with him, but the future's bright for him. He'll be back next year, and with that experience under his belt, and hopefully gunning for the number one center job because we do not have
Yeah.
a number one center on this team. Coyle's done a great job. Zaka has his moments, but neither one of them are a number one center. You know what a number one center looks like? It looks like Patrice Bergeron.
Yeah, we got
And
to
neither
watch
one
it
of
for
those
the
guys
last.
are it.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
almost a generational center. It's a bit different than a number
Yeah.
one center. But yeah, I as everything I've heard is the surgery is a routine tightening of the joint to prevent further dislocations. It's probably had a repeated dislocation problem, and it's something that shouldn't affect his long term health. So fingers crossed for him that he can still have a great career. So I think we probably close the book on the Bruins, Dad. Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we'll move on to segment number 4. So Wilgs Basement Bets, the Cinderella Tour. We've been here with Anthony since the jump, and we super appreciate all of his different bets. And we'll try and still incorporate some bets into the podcast, as it is tradition with podcasts and these sports things now. Anthony does have a video for us, so we will just let Anthony take it away. Ant, what do you got for us on the bet segment for the Super Bowl this coming weekend?
Hey everyone, last week of Wilgs Basement Bets. Let's get it. We're at the Super Bowl. One bet, one play, one lock. We're going to third and Juwan Jennings, plus 700 anytime touchdown. My dog's going to get it for us. He's going to cash a Super Bowl miracle. Get ready, get excited. Let's get it. Go Niners. Let's win some money.
All right. So thanks, Anthony. Anthony has been hitting this Juwan Jennings drum for weeks now. I could go back and look at the text message and prove it to you guys, but he is confident. He's already signed, sealed, and delivered this bet. He is putting money on this, so he's putting his money where his mouth is. So Jawan Jennings. On top of that, though, we talked about doing a parlay, a three-legged parlay, and my dad and I are both coming up with one, or both came up with one. I don't have mine written down right now. My dad does. So we'll listen to my dad's. Dad, what is your three-leg parlay? I'll try and also put it up on screen in a graphic with mine as well.
So I think the 49ers are going to cover. I do think the game is going to go over. And I do think that Patrick Mahomes is going to go over 25 completions. Because my thinking is the 49ers, are they going to be as dumb as everyone else? I feel like they're going to take away Kelsey. And they're good at stopping the run. So I think Mahomes is going to have to throw a lot. He's going to have to find other receivers besides Kelsey. And for some bizarre reason, the Ravens, who were like the best rushing team in the league, went up against KC, who was one of the worst, and they barely ran the ball. And San Francisco, I don't think is going to make that mistake either. So I think they're going to be running it down their throats. Yeah, they're going to be running it down their throats, using play action. And I think they're going to cover. I think it's going to go over. I think Mahomes is going to be chasing all day, so he is going to throw a lot. And I guess the over-under for his completions is 25. I think he goes over that, but it's not enough. 49ers win.
And just to put some numbers to the first two, the 49ers are -1.5, and the game total is 47.5. So there's
Thank you. Yes.
Wonderful description by my dad for that three-leg parlay. I need to get into the lab a little bit more and figure out mine. So, and also legally, this is not my dad's bet. He is in Florida, not the land of the free, like up here in Massachusetts. We get to gamble up here, get treated like adults. So I'll put mine up here in a moment, and hopefully I hit on my parlay. I will tell you this. I'm going to put my $5 down, see if I can make $20 this weekend, make the game a little bit more interesting. Because to be honest, I would love to watch both these teams lose. We could just cancel.
Put it on the old bull too. Put it on the old bull.
Yeah. There you go.
$5.
Yeah. So that's our betting segment. So now we could just kind of, organically slide right into segment number 5. And we could talk about the actual game, the Chiefs and the 49ers. I kind of already said I want both these teams to lose. 49ers because I don't like them catching us in Super Bowls. And the Chiefs because the media just shoves down this like odd scenario where Tom Brady and
the new
Patrick
GOAT.
Mahomes. The reality is that when Tom Brady was in the league and Mahomes had to go through him, Mahomes couldn't do it. Now, if that was the other way around and Brady had Montana the first few years Brady was in the league and Brady couldn't go through Montana, you'd bet your butt that would stain Brady's legacy for the rest of his career. Mahomes, even if Mahomes wins 9 Super Bowls, he's still not better than Brady because he couldn't do it against Brady. He had 2 opportunities to do it against Brady with, with amazing weapons in Kelsey, Tyreek Hill. He had Kareem Hunt. He had wonderful weapons and still couldn't beat Brady. So, in my opinion, if I had to choose, I would say the 49ers just because the Brock Purdy story and how much I dislike Patrick Mahomes, not as a person. No offense, Pat. Not as a person, but just as a player and what the media narrative is for you. What are your thoughts, Dad?
Yeah, the old bull doesn't buy into that. I mean, if he wins 9 Super Bowls, he's the GOAT. I mean, that's all there is to it. I mean, I listen. First of all, let's slow down there. He's got 2. Okay, so let's not get crazy. He's not getting 9. If he somehow ends up with 9, I'm sorry, Matt. He's the greatest.
No.
I mean, that's how I feel. Your little millennial butt can disagree, but you're wrong. I'm sorry. I don't.
Okay.
The truth hurts.
All right.
But
let's
not get crazy.
Jersey.
He's not
I didn't know you wanted a Mahomes jersey. My bad.
Yeah, he's not getting. Not only is he not getting 9, he's not catching Brady. He's not catching. There's no way he's catching Brady. Brady has 7. Okay. He's not winning 5 more. It's not happening. Too much happens in the NFL. You're going to stay injury free. You're going to be able to play into your 40s, constantly be surrounded by good players. It's not happening. His next coach is probably going to be garbage. Reed's getting up there.
Yeah,
Everyone
talk about
calm down.
retiring.
He's not catching it. So he's not catching Brady. Everyone calm down. Brady is the GOAT. He's always going to be the GOAT. There's never going to be another Tom Brady. He's an absolute lunatic who is a psycho who strived to be better every year despite winning 7 Super Bowls. It's
Yeah.
not going to happen, especially in today's NFL. So I'm not worried about that.
So
It would be Matt, you're right. It'll be annoying to listen to that narrative constantly all year until it gets to the point where Mahomes is like 41 and he only has 4, and then everyone stops talking about it. But yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm curious. I don't want to get too controversial here, Dad. Okay, remember, we still gotta. Some of our fans might care about this. What is
Yeah.
the old Bulls' thoughts on Taylor Swift kind of becoming a center point in a lot of these playoff games? Do you not care? Do you care?
I absolutely positively do not care. I could
Nice,
care
nice.
less. If she was fawning after Gronk when the Patriots were at their heights, I wouldn't care. When they showed her in her Patriots jersey cheering, I would not
Whatever.
care. As long as the Patriots are winning, I wouldn't care. I mean, I know people are butthurt for some reason. I don't
Yeah,
know. How do you feel on
yeah.
that?
No, I think we felt it with like Giselle. As Giselle was kind of the early Taylor Swift because she was an international, phenomenon.
Yeah.
Even more so than Brady. I really don't care. People like you said get like super frustrated by it. I've seen some pretty funny memes. Like somebody put Madden 2024, the cover. It put Taylor Swift on it. So,
Pretty funny.
I don't know if there's any like prop bets. Maybe my 3-legged parlay will have how many times they show Taylor Swift on the national broadcast. But people get all frustrated
Right.
about it. I think it's going to be an entertaining game. I think both these teams deserve to be there. It's going to be fun to watch. Celtics are playing earlier in the day, so I mean, what
Mhm.
better Sunday for all of our fans if you like Celtics and you don't like and you like football because gonna get to watch the matinee game for the Celtics and then follow it up with the Super Bowl. So I'm excited for this weekend.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it will be. I mean, I gave you my points as far as the actual X and O's of the game. I think I would like to think that San Fran is just not going to be dumb. I feel like they have way more talent top to bottom. If they're just not dumb, they win this game. And Shanahan is taking a lot of heat for choking down the stretch. He's got 2 weeks to get this right. Take away Kelsey. Do not let Kelsey beat you, and do not lose sight of the running game against the Chiefs defense. He just sticks with that. I feel like this is going to be, they're just going to win this game. So, I
Yeah,
mean, we'll see how it plays out.
yeah, sounds good. So I
Now,
think
I'm
that
not
kind of ends
saying
our
they're only
pod.
going to win by running. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
They got Debo Samuel, they got weapons. They got Kittle. So I'm
Oh yeah.
saying just keep stomping them and then the play action. And then, next thing you know, you get the Chiefs defense constantly on their ribs. So,
I will say this one thing. My buddy Cleon said that he is positive the last touchdown of the game is going to be a McDuffie pick 6 off of Brock Purdy. Kansas
oh,
City Chiefs going to seal it with a pick 6. I got to at least say it because if it happens, I'm going to be blown away because he's like, positive about it. He called me and told me what the exact score was going to be. Hopefully I don't misremember it and he ends up hitting because I'd feel
you
bad
could
for not
probably
giving
get
him the laurels.
You can get crazy odds for that. It doesn't have to be at the end of the game. Just a pick six in general. He'd probably get,
Yeah,
I don't know what odds are, but insane odds, like
defensive score.
100 to
Yeah.
1.
Yeah.
You know,
So, yep, I think that's the podcast. Go Super Bowl commercials. Don't go either of these teams. Yeah, I hope you both lose. I hope everybody has a good week and they enjoy the Super Bowl weekend. Any other thoughts, Dad?
No, that's it. Call it a wrap. I know you're tired. Let's get to bed.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh, the drawing.
the
Oh my
drawing.
God.
We can keep
We
this
almost
in.
forgot the drawing.
Yeah,
Holy cow.
We're tired. So
Oh, we are tired. And I didn't mention at the beginning. I don't know if you can cut something in there, Matt, put it up there. Like we are going to have the drawing at the
that's
very
fine.
end of the show. Very end of the show. So I guess we're back down to 9 participants this week. Couple didn't show up. So let's see. Here we go.
Florida Mike wants some more. Not enough.
Yeah.
15 did not fill him.
So there's our list right there. All right. Trusty phone. Here we go. And Google, pick a number between 1 and 9. 8.
I think that's a S name.
Oh, Sergeant
Steve
again.
Sargent. Man, there's some sort of pyramid scheme here with the Steves. I don't know everybody. I'd watch
The
out.
guy's a winner. I mean, look at
Yes,
his name. He's a winner. What are you gonna do? You can't
Now,
beat that. Dude's
with
a
the
Steve.
with the two $15 Panera Bread cards, he can buy a whole soup. Congrats, Steve.
Millennial Matt. Screw you. I'm gonna call you from now on. You and your
Oh man,
lame jokes.
I'm dying over here. Well, I think I'm glad we got that at the end. I'm glad, and we, we didn't have to break, so that was good. Silky smooth.
Yes.
And people got to see that it's legit. There's no re-rolls. There's nothing. My dad just does it. There's no scheme here. Maybe there is regarding the Steve Sargent thing, but outside of that, just natural. So yeah, thanks everybody. Appreciate you. And I guess we'll see you next week. Bye.
Good night, everyone.